Hi, welcome to CIDC Nirman. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I'm editor CIDC Nirman, and I have with me Dr. P.R. Swaroop. He's the Director General of CIDC. And Dr. Swaroop, we're talking about the Vishwakarma Awards, which you're shortly going to be giving out. Tell us about the Vishwakarma Awards. When did it start? What was the thought process behind it? And how long have you been giving out these awards?
Jashri, it has been there for last 16 years, and because of COVID, we had to basically suspend it for 1 year. But this is going to be the 15th year if we talk about it. Otherwise, it just goes on every year. So uh, it goes on.
And what was the thought behind the Vishwakarma Awards, Dr. Swaroop?
Well, when CIDC was established, there was a very severe crisis, I would say, identity crisis. Construction was not treated as an industry. And then, of course, CIDC was set up. We tried to streamline many of the things, as one can see from our website. But one thing which we decided that there are unsung heroes, and we should basically try to bring them out and let them know, everybody in the world know that construction is something which is essential for growth and development of not only economy but for a nation. And that was a thought that was all pervading, and that is where basically we said that the big players, good players, I would rather say good players, they should be introduced to people so that they know exactly how people are performing in this industry, and that is what the Vishwakarma Award is all about.
Okay. Dr. Swaroop, when you talk about construction, it's like a very wide arching industry. So, what are the successes that you celebrate with Vishwakarma? Could you break it down a little more?
Well, there are 12 streams, Jayashree. And if you start looking at all the streams that we have there, you would understand that we can classify them into highways and roads, which are basically the kind of communication networks that you have in the nation. You have railways, you also have housing, and you have industrial, manufacturing units. You have hydro electricity, you have power generation, you have chemical manufacturing, and you have plethora of things. So broadly, we say that it falls in 12 categories, and each category is significant in its own way.
Okay. And you have been giving out doyens of the industry awards. Who are the doyens, and what does it take to become a doyen in the industry?
You see, it is a matter of irony. It's more than 100 years that construction industry has got something what you can call as a hero, and we still continue remembering Sir Vishwesvaraya. And of course, after that, there has not been people whose contributions, and they have been substantial contributions, they are to be recognized, they have to be known. And industry doyens are those individuals whose efforts have made us change the way we have been running, operating, and managing the construction industry, bring in the values and things like that.
Okay. And you've also been honoring public servants for their contribution to the construction industry. Tell us what kind of contributions are rewarded here.
Just you got to understand that much of the investment that goes in construction, it basically is through the public projects that you have there. May they be metro rail corporations, may they be railways, may they be defense structures, or even housing in a big way, are basically some of the areas where it is the public policy and the people who are handling the kind of resources that have to be given to the construction industry to make sure that we are able to deliver. And it is those individuals who, within the government or within the project authorities, are in a position to make contributions. They are the ones who introduce the good practices within construction industry. I will cite number of examples, and the first example I will cite is organization like Central Public Works Department and Military Engineer Services. You'll be happy to know that these are the organizations who have now made it mandatory that construction workers who had been the unsung heroes, they acquire the skills, they acquire the skill certificates, and now, of course, we have gone a step further where we are converting them into field engineers for that matter.
Mhm. Okay. And in the construction industry, there are small companies, there are medium-sized companies, and large companies. When a company aspires to win an award, what does it take to? What are the parameters on which you assess them?
There are four parameters generally we look at. The first one is how exactly they manage and nurture the human resources that they engage and employ. That is very, very important and essential for any company to even survive. Number two, are they concerned about the safety and quality related issues? The third one, how are they spending their monies? Are they actually incurring losses, or they make money for the corporate houses, as well as uh, provide the good services to the people? And then, of course, the last pillar is that they are the ones who are executing the things without time and cost overruns. That is very, very important, because ultimately it is going to be impacting the exchequer.
Okay. Okay. And uh, what are the best practices that you have noticed over the past 15 years? It's a long period of time, and you're auditing the projects that come to you for awards. So, what are the best practices that you have noticed and you would like to highlight?
The first very remarkable change that has come is that construction workers are no more what they used to be some 15 or 20 or even 30 years ago.
Mhm.
Now, these are the boys and girls who are far more educated. They are committed to hard work, and that is a very major change. Number one. Number two, there are professional practices that are now being applied. The project management techniques that are being really put in practice, they are far more efficient as compared to what they used to be when I was a young engineer and started with the industry. The third very major and important issue, and that is something which anybody can perceive, and that is to really look at the complexion of the construction sites. You will realize that personal protective gear for all the construction workers at site is far more visible than whatever it used to be. As a matter of fact, right within the cities and towns and even in the hinterland, you will find that construction workers themselves, they refuse to go on the site without personal protective gear. And then, of course, it comes that they are looking at kind of future growth. They are also very keen to educate themselves and try to fill in the gap of field engineers. And that is a new initiative from this year onward. CIDC is going to be launching. In Vishwakarma award ceremonies, we'll be making some very path-breaking announcement.
Okay. Okay. And uh, in the construction industry itself, are you seeing more and more people taking choosing it as a career path?
Well, I am sorry to say this. And when it comes to the engineers who are graduating from our 100,000 odd training institutes that you have there, I don't know how many numbers are there, but the numbers vary from 17,000 to 18,000 and things like that. The unfortunate part is that the youth today is actually looking more at IT and information technology and applications like that, probably because it is comfortable, far less strenuous for that matter. They don't want to really get in touch with the elements, and that is a very major concerning issue that you have there. It's a very major entity, and the number of graduate engineers that we are able to get is almost abysmal. Very small number. And they also are looking this career option as a standby kind of career option. And on the first possible opportunities, they would like to basically push off to the IT industry for that matter. So we are taking certain very proactive steps, and
Okay.
these have been drawn out of the inspiration that I had from none other than late Sir Winston Churchill, who used to be the Prime Minister during the Second World War. And they were facing very severe problems of pilots. And how did they create the pilots? That's a long story. Right here, back home in India itself, the doctors were almost missing. Many of the doctors who used to be trained in the British medical institutes, they were just not there. So the government decided to take certain very innovative steps, And I have tried to kind of introduce something, and you will be learning about it on 3rd and 4th of April, right here in Delhi, where there are more than 450 odd organizations who will be joining us to celebrate the, you can say, the uh, founding day of CIDC, as well as to be honored.
The real estate industry is now coming into its own. There is so much more, about 70% of real estate is residential, the rest is commercial. There is intense building activity across the country. So, how does the Vishwakarma Award celebrate the real estate industry? And are you seeing enough numbers of people actually coming forward for the awards?
Frankly speaking, Jashri, there are lots of stories that are floating around. I don't want to name the people, but those who are basically heading the industry associations, they keep talking about some very stupendous amount of monies that are basically flowing in the real estate industry. Now, if we aggregate the whole thing, and I will just tell you one figure which just came about, 300 lakh crores of rupees is the total value of construction that we deliver every year. Now, if you take that figure into account and calculate that 20 to 25% of it is only construction and hardcore construction. I'm not talking about the land value and
Yeah,
appreciations and
yeah.
such kind of things or the legal expenses. Even 20% of this is such a stupendous figure that possibly it might take us another 50 to 60 years to really complete that kind of work. I am really surprised. There is hardly any research that is going on. The strength of the construction industry, I'm talking about the strength of delivery, is something that has to be understood. And to all my friends from the real estate, and certainly we have a fair number of real estate companies who are also joining this galaxy of performers. And that is another statement that I am going to be giving for general consumption, that let us be very, very careful about the numbers we keep on coining about. These are not the kind of things that have to be taken very lightly. Because if you look at the total capacity of construction industry to deliver, I'm talking about the construction products that you have,
Hmm.
with great stretch, you can go up to say about 10 lakh crores of rupees per year. That is the kind of capacity that you have there. And how many people are required, that is another thing that one has to really look at that. Presently, we have almost about 5 to 6 crore people who are working there. Now, all of them are busy with the attrition and other things that you have there. Now, part of them are also going to real estate sector. So, with that and $1.3 trillion worth of investments coming in this particular area, I am really shuddering in my pants as to how many people will be required. Probably you might need whole of India, whole of Bangladesh, whole of Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, and multiply that by 5. That is what is required actually to complete this kind of work.
Dr. Swaroop, I'd like you to talk about the real estate awardees that we've had so far and what do you award them for?
Well, there are, again, as I told you, all the parameters that are being used to determine whether a corporate is really efficient corporate and deserves the award, they are there. But on top of it, apart from all the points that I told you that time, there is another thing which is very, very important, and that is, are they very fair in their dealing with their customers? Are they delivering what they are committing and promising? The time and cost overrun is, of course, one of the major issues that one has to really look at. But are they delivering what they are making commitment of? So that is one very major issue that we try to look into. We look at to the financial stability of the companies. Are they really going there? It should not happen. There are a number of ugly cases that you and me know about. How exactly the customers are running from pillar to post to get their money back or to get some dwelling units, and these are very bad stories that we have there. So we look into all those things and then try to see that how serious are the people who have promoted the company, what kind of borrowings they have done, how exactly they are dealing with their banks, are they really true to their commitment to their customers and to their banks and to everyone else concerned. So these are the kind of factors that we take into account. But one very major factor that we take into account, and that is another thing that we'll be announcing, are they following the green practices, which is extremely, extremely important. Because now what is happening is with the carbon footprints around there and the whole nation being very conscious, the leadership being very conscious, I think we'll have to start looking at that particular part also. And we do. So you will see that many of them who have done their work properly, and I am really very, very happy with the kind of performances that I have seen this year. There has been a marked difference. On all fronts, there has been a marked difference. And I'm very sure we have reached the critical point. From here, it is only going to be up and up only. So I think the future is pretty bright.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Swarup.
Thank you, Jashri. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.